Prime Minister Mark Carney has arrived in Washington ahead of his meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump tomorrow. The two world leaders are going to come face to face before the cameras in the Oval Office for the very first time. Carney wants to set the stage for negotiations of a broad economic and security agreement between Canada and the United States. Earlier today, Donald Trump told reporters he's not sure why Carney wants to see him, but that he assumes it's to make a deal. Now, just yesterday, Trump revived his 51st state rhetoric in an interview on NBC. Okay, so let's go now to CBC's Ashley Burke. She's been traveling with the Prime Minister. She joins us now from Washington as well. Ashley, what are the Prime Minister's goals here at the meeting tomorrow?
Well, Sarah, this is a high-stakes meeting during an unpredictable trade war, and this will be the first time that Mark Carney is going to be sitting down face-to-face with Donald Trump since he became Prime Minister, and he campaigned on a promise that he was the best person to take on Donald Trump and to win. And now this is one of his first tests to show Canadians or prove to Canadians that he's the right person for this. He has two things he wants to accomplish at this in terms of issues. First are the immediate tariffs. So that's on autos, on aluminum and steel. But as well, he wants to have a broader conversation with Trump about their relationship when it comes to security as well as the economy. He said that the days of their tight-knit relationship that we have known for decades is over, and it's time for a new one. He's described these conversations as potentially going to be difficult, but he also says that he hopes that they are constructive and has warned people that coming out of this, don't expect the tariffs to be lifted, that a deal could take some time and not to expect white smoke coming out of this. We spoke to one of Justin Trudeau's former trade advisors who worked on the Canada-U.S. file. He told us what success coming out of this for Canada would be, and that is that the two leaders agree to meet again, and as well that they chart out some sort of path forward or a process to get both countries out of this trade war.
And Ashley, since we learned that this meeting was going to happen between Mark Carney and Donald Trump, there has been a lot of speculation and talk about what his strategy should be, Mark Carney's strategy going into this. What do you know about how he plans to approach this meeting?
I was at a press conference where Mark Carney laid out his expectations, his priorities leading into this this meeting, and he said himself that Trump is one of the best negotiators there is, but that he respects strengths. So that's something that's top of mind for Mr. Carney heading into this. And he also asked King Charles to come to Canada and deliver the throne speech. That's something that hasn't happened since 1977. Trump likes the royals. He likes the pomp and the pageantry, people who are successful, who are on TV. And, experts say that he respects the royals. So that is a strong signal that Canada is trying to send to Trump, that Canada's sovereignty is not up for negotiation. But whether or not Trump brings up some of the rhetoric that we saw yesterday about Canada being the 51st state, that's what we're going to be watching for. Does he bring it up? How does Carney respond? Could there be a case where, we've seen other leaders like Ukraine's president be berated by Trump as well as his vice president, J.D. Vance? Is that something that could happen? And how would Carney deal with a situation like that when it's unfolding potentially in front of the cameras? I asked him that question on Friday at the press conference, and he said, that he's going to go into this meeting prepared. That's what he can do. So we also know for this meeting, he's got three ministers here with him, Melanie Joly, Dominic LeBlanc, and David McGuinty. Those are all ministers who have been working closely on the Canada-U.S. file. And today, when we landed, we were told that he was headed to the Canadian Business Council. They were holding an event to meet with Canadian and as well as American business leaders. So perhaps he's also asking them for some advice heading into today. This is really one of his first big tests since he was elected Prime Minister.
CBC's Ashley Burke in Washington. Ashley, thank you. Okay, my next guest is a member of the Council on Canada-U.S. Relations. Arlene Dickinson is a founder and general partner at District Ventures Capital. She's in Toronto. Arlene, Mark Carney set to have this first very high-stakes sit-down with Donald Trump. This is the first time after his election. I feel like this is a very important visit to Canada. What's on the line here?
Well, listen, I think, Prime Minister Carney's been very clear about what he wants to focus on in the meeting tomorrow, which obviously is the immediate trade pressure and what's happening with our economic and defense between our two sovereign nations. But listen, what's on the line is you don't shout across the border at each other if you want to solve a problem and a breakdown in a relationship. You sit down in a room face to face and you work it out. And that's what the start of what's going to happen tomorrow is going to represent. And I think Prime Minister Carney is going to be calm and collected, and he's not going to rise to the theater.
The Prime Minister has said that he expects it's going to be difficult, but he's hoping for constructive talks. What do you think, or what do you expect might come out of these meetings?
I think we're setting some guardrails down around what is permissible in terms of lines not to cross. We need to find common ground as much as possible, and I think the Prime Minister is going to work with Donald Trump and his administration to find out what that common ground is without giving up the things that matter. And ultimately, the Prime Minister's audience is as much Canadians tomorrow as it is Donald Trump. We're all going to be watching to make sure that our country's being defended, our rights are being defended, and our sovereignty is being defended.
What we've heard from Mark Carney is that he will fight for what he calls the best deal for Canada. He'll only accept the best deal for Canada. Is the best deal going to be what we have currently been dealing with, or what we have currently experienced? What's your sense of what a best deal might look like at this stage?
Well, a best deal is going to be anything that ensures that we can, A, maintain our sovereignty, B, ensure that our workers are, protected, and, making sure that our resources are for our use and for our ability to sell to whatever nation and wherever in the world we want to. So it's very difficult to understand exactly what Donald Trump is going to want and what he's going to say. He's unpredictable. There's a lot of chaos, but holding on to what matters to Canadians is really what has got to be the end game here. So what does success look like? It means, not feeling like we've had to give up anything that we weren't prepared to negotiate with, similar to what we did in the first place with trade. We had a great trade relationship. Let's get back to a good trade relationship.
From what you know of Mark Carney, you talk about the unpredictable. Is he prepared for the unpredictable Donald Trump that he could face tomorrow in the White House? We have seen it play out with other world leaders.
I think he's been in more high stakes rooms than many have, and he's dealt with very, very important and high stake negotiations more than any people have, or most people have. So I think it's going to be a challenge, but as I said, I think he's very level-headed, he's very calm, he's very collected, he knows why he's there, and I think he's going to be literally fine. I don't think he's going to match drama for drama or theater for theater. He's not there to make a headline, he's there to make the best deal he can for our country.
So assuming tomorrow goes well, but there isn't a deal perhaps tomorrow, what are you hoping for in the days ahead, in the next meeting? How do you see this all playing out long-term?
I hope it's the start of mending and trying to repair whatever relationship we can. The relationship will never be the same as it was, but we do need to try and find a way to hopefully trade together into the future. So I hope tomorrow is the start of respectful relationships and respectful dialogue that gets us to a place of, as I said, some common ground. That's a hope, but with Trump, you don't know what he's going to do, but that's our hope.
I assume you'll be watching?
Absolutely.
As will, I'm sure, very many people in this country. Thank you very much. That was Arlene Dickinson, member of the Council on Canada-U.S. Relations.